In this Chapter 8 tutorial, we're going to go through a principal resident question. Let's jump into the question on the next slide. On the next slide, let's look at the question together. This is a situation where Allie owns a house in Surrey and as well as a cottage in Tofino. We're told the purchase price and the dates, and then in the second paragraph, we're told that both the house and the cottage were sold in 2019. Now the required says that you're asked to calculate the minimum capital gain on each property that she must report in 2019 after applying the principal resident designation in the most advantageous manner. So read through the problem, pause the video here, and once you've completed your solution, then resume the video to go through the solution together. So pause the video at this point to complete the problem first. Okay, let's jump into the solution on this next slide. Now, we know that both the Surrey and the Tofino properties were both sold in 2019. So the first step is to calculate what is the capital gain. So we take our proceeds of disposition minus our adjusted cost base. And in some of the questions, they would have real estate commissions as well. In this particular question, there are no real estate commissions, but let's just put that there so we don't forget to include that if there were real estate commissions in a different problem. Now, the Surrey property was sold for $300,000 and it was purchased for $228,000. There were no commissions, so the capital gain on the Surrey property was $72,000. And let's just do the same for the Tofino cottage. The Tofino cottage was sold for $180,000. Adjusted cost base was $100,000. Once again, we're assuming no commissions, and so the capital gain was $80,000. Now, what we need to do next then is figure out what is the capital gain per year of ownership. Now, let's start with the Surrey property first. We know that the Surrey property was purchased in 2008 and it was sold in 2019. And so once again, we have to include 2008 and also 2019. So that equals to 12 years. So we're going to divide this by 12, and that's going to give us a capital gain of $6,000 per year. Now we can do the same for the Tofino property. The Tofino property was purchased in 2013, also sold in 2019. And once again, we cannot just go 2019 minus 2013 because we have to include the 2013 year as well. So if you figure that out, that's going to be a total of 7 years. And so the capital gain per year on the Tofino property, if we round it to the nearest dollar, is $11,429 per year. Now, what we want to do is, because both properties qualify as Allie's principal resident, we want to eliminate the capital gain on the property that has the highest capital gain per year first. So because the Tofino property has the higher capital gain per year, that's what we want to eliminate first. So let's actually carry on then. So we know we want to get rid of the Tofino property capital gain. In order to do that, we have to look at the capital gain reduction formula for principal residence. So the formula says that we take the capital gain, which is the A amount, and then we multiply that by the B over C. Now, once again, the capital gain is $80,000 on the Tofino property. And once again, this is the reduction. This is the capital gain reduction, A times B over C. Now, let's look at the C amount. C is the number of years since 1971 that the taxpayer has owned the property. Now, we determined that that was a total of 7 years. And if we look at B, B is 1 plus the number of years since 1971 that the property is being designated as the taxpayer's principal resident. Now, we know that we want this entire $80,000 to be eliminated. So ultimately, we want to make sure that this capital gain reduction equals $80,000, because $80,000 capital gain minus the reduction of $80,000 is going to eliminate this entire capital gain on the Tofino property. So what we need this number to be then is to be 6. And so the number of years that we're going to designate the Tofino property as the principal resident will be 6 years. So rather than take 2013 to 2019, we can designate the Tofino property as her principal resident for the years 2014 to 2019. And that's going to eliminate the entire capital gain. So for the Tofino property then, we have the capital gain of 80,000 minus the reduction of 80,000, and that's going to result in 0 capital gain for Allie to recognize on the Tofino property. So that's how we eliminate the capital gain on the property that has the highest capital gain per year. Then we have to go back now to the Surrey property. Now, we also can eliminate some of the capital gain on the Surrey property, but because we used up some of the years already, in particular 2014 to 2019, we cannot use those years for the Surrey property. So when it comes to the Surrey property, we do the same thing. A times B over C. Now for the Surrey property, the A amount is the 72,000. And then let's actually look at the C amount. Well, the C amount is the number of years that the taxpayers own the property. We figured that out to be 12. Now we know that for the B, we're also going to get this plus 1. But now we got to figure out, well, how many years can we designate the Surrey property as the principal resident? Well, we own the Surrey property from 2008 to 2019. However, we've already used 2014 to 2019 as the principal resident for the Tofino property. So what does that leave? That just leaves 2008 to 2013. Remember, we can't use the same year for different properties. So 2008 to 2013 will designate the Surrey property as the principal resident. So once again, if you count the years 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, that is going to be 6 years. It's just coincidence that both use the year 6, but basically 2008 to 2013, those years we can designate the Surrey property as the principal resident because that does not overlap with the years that we designated the Tofino cottage as the principal resident. So this is going to give us the capital gain reduction for the Surrey property. So 72,000 times 7 over 12, that's going to be a reduction of 42,000. So then the capital gain for the Surrey property, once again, we take the total capital gain, which is 72,000, minus the capital gain reduction of 42,000, and that's going to leave us with a capital gain on the Surrey property of 30,000. So once again, to summarize, 0 capital gain on the Tofino property and 30,000 capital gain on the Surrey property. Now obviously capital gains are 50% taxable, so we would multiply that by 50% to get taxable capital gains of 15,000 on the Surrey property. So that brings us to the end of this video problem for principal resident. Good luck with your studies, and we'll see you in the next video tutorial.